Hi guys, welcome to a brand new video on this channel. I'm Kelly from Team Tier 3 and today I have a very special deck profile for you guys. It's gonna be Drytron and stick around to the end of the video where you have a nice 1v1 live duel against MC Vince and his Phantom Knight deck. So it's gonna be really special for you guys today, and let's go to the deck profile. So guys, starting off with the main deck here, we obviously have the main searcher, triple alpha. You play 3, that's the standard ratio here. Next we have triple zeta, that's your main ritual spell searcher, so obviously you want to max out on those. Next you play 2 gamma and 2 delta. Most people play the 3rd gamma here, but I think the more you see different Drytrons, the better it is, so you have more effects to activate in a turn. And you really don't want to see the gamma right off the bat. Next are the cards that search our Drytrons, so it's a triple cyber emergency. It can search your alpha, beta, whatever you need, the best card to open. Also searchers are double Fafnir, that searches your either Nova or your ritual spells, in which case I play 2, since I just think it's correct in this build, since if you check out later I don't play the goons, so I think it's better this way. You also play the one of Foolish Burial, which is also searches either any of your Drytrons from the deck. I play triple preparation. It's just searches your Benton, and if you draw it for a follow-up play, you can just add something from deck and add the ritual from graveyard, which is nice plus. The ritual monsters are the Drytron, big one, the Benton, main searcher, the boss monster Ultimateness, and your Ideten, which is just a nice recursion for your ritual spells, and level 6 for Beatrice. Next, this might be a bit controversial, I play on the 2 Diviner. I don't have the 3rd, but I also just bricked every time with like opening 2 or more of those, going second, and it's just not that great. You also play 2 Ava, which is mandatory in this build, and triple orange, just because I want to have as much fairies, especially when not playing 3 Diviner. Play 1 Cold by the Grave, great for going first, and I play for going second cards Forbidden Chalice, just for outing Caliga and Apollos and stuff like that. And also I play Double Bell, which is just a generic hand trap that is good in this format. Okay, going next for the extra deck. XCs are Beatrice. It also searches any of your cards, basically just sends to graveyard, then you can add it back. I play the Zeus package, which is basically the Fucho, which is unaffected, you can attack and just overlay for Downer, this is proxy obviously, and then the Zeus, which just clears the field, and if he has 4 or more materials you can just use it up, like it outs any board. Then I play 2 Fafnirs, Ubetas. They're also great for your spamming the board with like Ideten and ritual spell, just deattach, summon, add back and do it again. For the links, I play Link Oribo, this is mandatory for your level 1 Drytrons. I play IP, which is in this build stronger when you don't have Anaconda. Then I play Phoenix and Unicorn. Unicorn is mainly for like when you want to finish the game, and for IP, and this is for outing floodgates. I also play Appaloosa, which is nice going first. especially if you get stopped in an awkward place, you can just link off everything for Appaloosa if you know you're playing against a monster effect oriented deck. And for OTK's sword, one fusion, which is the target for a diviner to pop floodgates or problematic monsters, one arclight for adding, and a spicy card actually, which is Black Rose Dragon right here. Like you summon this against a basically any deck, especially like prank kids that don't have protection if they don't go through bark or something like that, and you just pop their whole field. And it just needs like diviner plus a Drytron and you just kill them. And for the side deck, this is actually kinda standard, but like I play 3 Mystic Mine, which is actually quite nice, since this is like for game 2, when you know you're going second and your opponent just sides out all the back row hate and you just deck them out. I play 3 Twister just for outing cards, as well as the Harpies. Then 3 Nibiru is great against Virtual World, and in combination with other cards that can stop your opponent. I play only 2 Dark Ruler. I could boost this up to 3, but I don't think it's that strong right now. And I play the triple Herald of the Abyss. This is just outs any problematic card on the field, outs Dragoon, and if you hit a floating monster, it just says your opponent cannot activate the monster effects of that monster until the end of the turn, so it doesn't get the floating effect. So it's a nice out, and it's activate once per turn, so if it gets negated, you can just go again.
Hello everybody, my name is Heroe from Team Tier 3, and today I'll be doing a commentary on the duel between the Drytron player that you just saw do a deck profile versus a Phantom Knight player. We already have some cards flying around the table, so we can already see that it will be a fun duel. The Phantom Knight player is actually playing a 60 card deck list, and I am the one that's actually piloting the Phantom Knights. And the Drytron player, you just saw a deck profile, so we already know who he is. So we're just getting into the game 1 of the match. We can see both players doing a shuffle. The Phantom Knight player actually doing a power shuffle, making sure he doesn't draw any of his bricks. And the Drytron player just doing a beta male shuffle, just doing a riffle shuffle. Also we can see a cat interrupting us just for a second. This is actually my cat, it's called Ghost, and he's very cute. Also, ignore this part, he's not actually being tortured, he likes being picked up like this. And he's currently not trying to escape my huge arms, so yeah. I just put the cat down and we're going to get into the duel. So just finishing up the shuffles. And now they're going to throw dice to see who is going to go first. Just doing the final riffle shuffles and doing some cuts on the decks to make sure that no stacking was involved, because I'm not even sure why would I stack or why would he stack in a friend duel. But yeah, we can see the Phantom Knight player rolling an 11 and the Drytron player rolling a 6. So the Phantom Knight player is obviously going to go first. And now just drawing a hand, same as the Drytron player, and starting his turn by normal summoning Marauding Captain and using his effect to special summon a monster from the hand. We can see in Drytron player's hand a Ghost Bell, so that might come in handy when dealing with the combo. The Phantom Knight player actually linking into Cherubini and now special summoning Gillosaurus. And now using the Cherubini effect after summoning Gillosaurus, so he has a way to protect it. Sending the Graph for cost, and now using the Graph effect to special summon a Phantom Knight, to a Burning Abyss monster from the deck. He special summons a Seer and uses Seer and Cherubini to summon Phantom Knight of Rusty Bardish, and when Seer is sent to the graveyard, he summons back the Cherubini from the graveyard back to the field. Now he has a couple of lines he can take. he can use a Rusty Bardiche, and also, okay, now just they're putting a field center, so it is easier for you to keep track of the zones that cards are being placed in, so we don't have a Zodiac Barrage situation in a YCS like we had just recently. So yeah, now he is going to use the Rusty Bardiche effect, sending to the graveyard the Ancient Cloak that gets stomped on by a cat to set a Fog Blade. Now he is going to use Ancient Cloak on Resolution to search for a Silent Boots, I presume, which are just a free special summon while you control a Phantom Knight monster. The Phantom Knight monster currently on the field is the Rusty Bardiche, so the boots are allowed to be special summoned. And at this point there are a couple of lines he can take as well. He can do an overlay for a Levier, or he can probably make... I mean, he can always go for Anaconda if he's out of place. But yeah, the Levier is the more safe option and just nets so much resources. It detaches a card for cost to special summon from the banished pile a level 4 or lower monster. In this case, the monster summoned is the Cloak, and then on Resolution he uses the Silent Boots, banishing itself to search a Phantom Knight spell or trap card. In this case it is the Phantom Knight Sword, which is an extender while in the graveyard, to use it for fodder, for discard fodder for the DDR spell card equip that summons from the banished pile. That was actually really smart to do, so now he has an extra extender and can go into even more place once he is done extending through Isolde, which now gets summoned and searches a Kagemucha Knight for a follow-up turn. And also using the second effect of Isolde, of course, sending one equip card to the graveyard and specialing out the Infernoble Knight Renaud to add back the equip to the hand. Infernoble Knight Renaud is actually a really good Infernoble card, one of the best in its archetype, but also very versatile in all warrior decks, being able to add back a equip or a fire warrior when summoned by Isolde's effect. So yeah, here the Renaud tries using its effect to add back to hand a living fossil from the graveyard. This can get belled, and the Drytron player is just thinking about if he wants to use the Ash. He elects not using the Ash, which could be a mistake if the Phantom Knight player goes for Appaloosa here. And looks like this is the case. He links all three monsters, special summoning the Appaloosa, an OCG Ultimate Rare Appaloosa at that, by using three monsters, and rendering the Ghost Bell in the Drytron player's hand useless. Now he uses the Phantom Knight Sword from in the graveyard to banish itself, special summon a Cloak, using the Cloak effect to boost Rusty Bardiche by 800 until the opponent's end phase. This would usually be used on Appaloosa if we go through the Verte play. So the Verte would make Appaloosa Dark and boost her for 800, but in this case we're just going to special summon a Marauding Captain with Living Fossil from the graveyard, overlaying for Levier, and then just overlaying both Leviers for number F0, Utopic Future, and overlaying the Utopic Future for Utopic Future Draco. Utopic Future Draco is a very strong card, being a monster negate that also takes control of that monster for forever, of course. It doesn't have to be sent back to the opponent later. Also, it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, which makes it really annoying to deal with. Also, all the materials that go into it, that are not the Xyz monsters, are sent to the graveyard, so they actually give you a lot more resources to work with the next turn. And then he sets another card and passes turn to the Drytron player. So yeah, let's see if the Drytron player can break this board. It's by no means an unbreakable board, but it's a board that requires a lot of resources from your opponent to break, in which case the opponent probably will not be able to create a board of his own, so the follow-up turn OTK is just very likely to happen. The Drytron player starts his turn by activating the Preparation of Rites, searching for a level 7 or lower ritual monster, and the ritual monster that is searched is the Cyber Angel Benten. The Benten now, of course, being limited on the ban list. It's actually not that big of a problem anymore, but it's still a very strong card. Now we can see the Drytron player activating a Drytron Nova. A nice card allowing you to special summon any Drytron monster from the deck, basically for free, and also then you can afterwards use the effect of the Drytron that was summoned by Nova to get even more resources. The Drytron player just going over all the options he has, until eventually he normal summons the Ghost Bell that was just sitting in his hand for the entirety of the first turn. And now he's able to go into the Herald of Arclight, which is probably what he's going to do. And yeah, we can see the Herald getting summoned to the field. I don't know why it got summoned in the attack position, since it cannot beat over anything. But I mean, I guess it hit the field in attack position mode. The only downside to this Herald is now all the monsters from the Drytron player that get tributed from the hand are going to get banished instead of going to the graveyard, which will hurt his grind game a lot if he even manages to break the board currently. Now he activates another preparation of rites, searching for a Cyber Angel Idaten. The Cyber Angel that boosts all rituals when tributed, and when summoned adds back a ritual spell card to hand. Now he is using the Zeta effect in the graveyard, tributing the Idaten for cost, to special summon itself from the graveyard and search a ritual spell card. Let's see if this gets interrupted by the PK player, and it does get interrupted by an Appaloosa negate. He attempts to chain the Herald of Arclight to negate Appaloosa, but the Phantom Knight player has a Call by the Grave. It must be nice opening a 1-off in a 60 card deck, am I right? Haha. And yeah, this is just a sign for the Drytron player to scoop his cards and go into game 2 and pray that he doesn't get Nibiru or something even worse like Kaijud. Yeah. This was a pretty good game 1. We saw a pretty good combo line from the Phantom Knight player, and also it was a bit interactive. I mean, it could have been if the Drytron player actually used his Ghost Bell that was sitting in his hand, but he did not use the bell, so it was much harder for him to break the board that was at full power. The bell could have been used on the Seer effect that attempted to summon Cherubini from the grave, and if Cherubini would have stayed in the graveyard, that would be resourceless. He would not be able to go into Appaloosa without sacrificing his Utopic Future Draco, I think. I'm not sure though. Now we can see both players siding. The Phantom Knight player has to side a lot of cards in, so he is able to actually see at least one of them, because if you side anything less than, say, 9, 12 or 15 cards, you're probably not going to see any of them since you're playing a 60 card deck. And of course he's doing a power shuffle, so he has the greatest chance of seeing a side deck card in his opening hand or even drawing it for turn in case he plays Kaijus. What is good to side against Drytrons, you might ask? Well, Kaijus are always very good because they disable all the negates from the Herald and the fairies in the hand, except of course the orange light. And what else? I guess Nibiru is very good if the Drytron player doesn't know how to play around it or doesn't summon Herald before 5th summon. Of course, this all depends on the hand that is presented to the Drytron player. There are other options that hurt Drytron a bit, but not that much, and the only exception I can think of currently is Duel. Duel is pretty bad for the Drytron deck to get hit. Yeah, the siding is over, the decks are cut, and we can start with the game 2. Now transition, blah blah blah. Okay, we can see the Drytron player starting his turn by activating Drytron Fafnir from his hand. Drytron Fafnir on activation allows him to search a Drytron spell or trap card from his deck. In most cases this is Drytron Nova, but some builds recently have started picking up the counter trap, since they are starting to summon the Quandis, the big 4K monster ritual of Drytrons. Yeah, the Drytron player actually just skipped a step, but it doesn't matter since it did not get interrupted anyways. He searched for a Drytron Nova, used the Drytron Nova to special summon a Zeta from the deck, and now he's going to link off the Zeta into a Linkuriboh. Oh, never mind, he's going to link into Appaloosa. I guess that works too. Yeah, that's one for the funny compilation. But yeah, we're just rewinding and summoning a proper target, being the Linkuriboh. And on summon, now we're activating the Preparation of Rites to search for a Benten once again. It would get annoying if the Benten wasn't the secret rared, so it's actually excusable like this. Now it gets tributed by Zeta, poor Benten always being used as tribute fodder, and using her effect, of course, to search for a light fairy monster. The Zeta also added a ritual spell card, being the Drytron, the Meteonis, from the deck to hand. Let's see how the play will continue from here. He's doing the fingers on the board, which means he's a very good combo player, because he's actually thinking when he's doing that, and he's not doing it just for the show. Normal summoning the Herald of Diviner of the Heralds, excuse me. It's an expensive card, and I haven't heard the name all that much, so I stuttered a little bit. But yeah, the Diviner gets summoned, sends a Herald to the graveyard to boost its level by 4, and now it is on level 6, which will come in handy later when he's going to go into Beatrice or some other rank 6, but mostly they go into Beatrice. And the Herald of Arclight was used to summon, search from the deck to hand, a Herald of Ultimateness. Now, while we have some time, when the Drytron player is thinking, we can just say that the Herald of Ultimateness is actually a really degeneric? It's actually a very stupid card. It just negates everything the opponent does. Usually you have some counterplay, like you need to think what to negate. No, with the Herald it's actually just, you want to do this? No, no, no. Okay, now I used all my fairies, I use Eva, banish to search for more fairies and negate everything else. But yeah, he used the Meteonis here, tributing the Zeta to summon the Idaten from hand. The Idaten added back the ritual spell, and now he overlaid the Diviner that was level 6, and the Idaten that's also level 6 for Beatrice. And Beatrice is sending a Drytron Gamma from deck to grave. Gamma being one of the best Drytrons, being able to bring back to itself and one more Drytron from the graveyard to the field, and then allowing you to overlay, like he's doing currently, into a Mu Beta that then sends another Drytron to the grave. And I believe he's going to send Alpha, since he did not use Alpha this turn. Also, the Drytron Xyz monster has an effect that allows him to detach materials from him as fodder for a ritual spell summon. For a summon being conducted by a ritual spell. I probably worded that very poorly, but whatever. And now he's thinking. When he thinks about it enough, he uses the Meteonis Drytron to special summon from his graveyard the Cyber Angel Benten by detaching from Mu Beta as cost. And now the Alpha uses effect in graveyard, tributes the Benten to search for the Meteonis Quandix that I already talked about, and the Benten activates and searches for a Light Fairy, which is Ava in this case. The Ava is actually a really good card, banishes 2 fairies from the graveyard to searches 2 more fairies from the deck. Now he uses the Meteonis effect in graveyard, reducing the attack of Mu Beta Fafnir on the field by 1000 and ending itself back to the hand. Now he is using the Meteonis to detach from Fafnir to special summon the Herald from the graveyard. And now I suppose he is going to link summon into IP. Yeah, the IP gets summoned. And this looks like a pretty good board to pass the turn on. He even sets a card that I think that was Called By, if I saw correctly. And Called By is actually really bad to play against when you're playing Phantom Knights. On Phantom Knight's draw phase, he's using the Beatrice effect, sending another Ava from deck to the graveyard, and using the Ava's effect to banish 2 fairy monsters, being the Diviner and the Herald, to search for 2 more fairies from the deck. And you almost always search for a Orange Light and the Diviner, like he did in this case. Let me just catch my breath. And the Phantom Knight player starts his turn by tributing the Herald for a Kaiju and using Rota to search for a warrior monster. Keep in mind, the Drytron player still has 2 negates in his hand in the form of Heralds of Orange Light, a Called By the Grave, and also a potential Appaloosa for 3 or 4. We can see a mocking finger of Dorian pointing to the Gamma-Ciel, meaning Kele, you're fucked, haha. We can see the Phantom Knight player normal summoning the Marauding Captain using its effect as Chainlink 1 and Kagemuchi Knight as Chainlink 2. The Marauding Captain summons from the hand the Phantom Knight of Thornscales, a really broken card, and the Kagemuchi Knight just summons itself to the field. The Drytron player now uses his middle finger to point to the IP, and IP is using all 4 monsters to summon Appaloosa. He makes a comment about getting Kaiju again, and when he makes that comment, he realizes maybe I should leave the Kaiju on my field so I cannot get Kaiju on Appaloosa. And he only uses 3 monsters for the Appaloosa, so she has 3 negates and 2400 attack points. The Phantom Knight player is now thinking about his options, probably thinking if he is going to scoop or attempt to break the board. I mean, this shouldn't be really all that hard to break, especially when he special summons a Psychic Wielder from his hand. That's like, what, 3 extenders? He uses the Marauding Captain and the Psychic Wielder to link summon for a Cherubini. At this point, what he should be doing is using the Thornscale to discard something to get Appaloosa negated, then using Cherubini paying cost, getting itself big enough to beat over Appaloosa, going into battle phase and just making the board in main phase 2 under Cherubini so he cannot get Orange Light negated and destroyed. But he elects to use Cherubini effect to send a Ancient Cloak from the deck to graveyard. I guess I did this so I can revive the Thornscale later. And this is the crucial misplay, I believe, because he is now going to link off into Codebreaker Virus Swordsman, that is co-linked with Appaloosa. This would not be a misplay, this would actually be a really good play, if only he left Cherubini on the board and used the Thornscale instead. And now when the Codebreaker was negated, he would just go into battle phase, beat over Appaloosa, and then make the board in main phase 2. But I guess in the heat of the moment you don't see the easy way out and you just fully commit to the misplay. Now he uses the Codebreaker and Thornscale to link into Rusty Bardish, which will probably get Orange Lighted, and yeah, we can see the Orange Light coming down. And also another Ava in hand, banishing a Herald and Beatrice to search for another Herald and another Diviner. After some discussion, they realized that there is only one target left in the deck, which is the Herald of Orange Light. So that might be one negate to play through less, and which is actually doable, but not the way the Phantom Knight player actually played this. Like this, with no cards in hand, it is probably doomed for the Phantom Knight player. He uses the Cloak effect in the graveyard to search for a Phantom Knight monster, searching for a Silent Boots. And now the Thornscale effect that wants to summon from the graveyard gets Called by the Grave, and this is just the point where Phantom Knight player runs out of gas and has to pass his turn. and passing your turn with 0 interruptions against Drytrons that have follow-up set is a death sentence, basically. There is really not a point to play this game out, but I guess there is always a chance, a small chance, for the Drytron player to misplay in some way and not kill the Phantom Knight player. But even if he doesn't kill him, there is always a threat of another board, or like he's probably going to make Zeus or something if he doesn't kill him. So there's probably no way for the Phantom Knight player to come back from this. Especially, I mean, he's not going to have a chance to come back when you see Gamma being activated, summoning the Zeta, and then Zeta tributing the Gamma to special summon itself from the graveyard, search for a ritual spell, and yeah, that's just the writing on the wall, and this game is over. There's no point in playing this out. I mean, since this is actually just a friendly duel, it's not like incorrect to play it out, since there is no time limit. But in bigger events, when there is time to think about it, it's always best to just scoop when you know you've got nothing. And yeah, on the summon of Borosword, the Phantom Knight player scoops, since that is just 8200 damage direct. This was actually a pretty good game to showcase that if you draw a going second card that is pretty impactful, you can actually break a Drytron board, but it's not enough to only use the go second card, such as Kaiju. You also have to... There's some shadow being casted by a team member, so we're just flaming him here. But yeah, the Drytron board can be broken, but you really need to play intelligently and use your resources very well, so that you can just get the maximum advantage out of it. And also don't play into Appaloosa negates when you have a way to just beat over Appaloosa. Side decking is complete. If I were to guess, I would say the Phantom Knight player put in rolls from the side deck into the main deck, instead of something like, I don't know, Bale maybe, or some other hand trap he plays, or some extenders. Probably even the Fogblade, since the Fogblade doesn't do all that much against Drytrons. And just he put back probably all the extenders that allow him to make a board. Meanwhile, the Drytron player probably sided in all of his go second cards that hate combo, such as Dark Rulers, maybe Evenly Matched, and I don't know what other options there are. And a good thing that they remembered to put back all the banish cards, because otherwise the duel would be a bit scuffed without using all of the 40 cards in the main deck and 50 cards in the extra of the Drytron player. The decks are now being shuffled and presented to their opponents to get cut. And now when they are cut, the duel is able to get started. The Phantom Knight player obviously going to go first, and this will be a game 3, or how the Drytron would say, that all-important game 3, or the Ziv, a very good YouTuber, would say that as well. We can see the Phantom Knight player starting his turn by normal summoning the Marauding Captain, using his effect to special summon from hand, and using Kagebuchi Knight as channeling too. The Marauding Captain special summons a Gilasaurus from his hand, which implies that there are no more extenders in his hand, or that there are no more impactful cards to summon, which means that a good placed hand trap from the Drytron player will be able to completely stop Phantom Knight player's turn. Now he's summoned the Cherubini using the Marauding Captain and the Gilasaurus, leaving a Dark Warrior on the table, being Kagemuchi Knight, which is actually a really good play. And now he uses the Cherubini effect, sending the Graph from the deck to the graveyard to boost itself by 1000 points. And now Graph is using his effect to special summon a Burning Abyss from the deck, which is most likely going to be Seer. Oh, actually no, he's going to summon Libic, which means that Seer is in his hand already. And he gets Nibiru on summon. The Nibiru resolves, summoning a token to the Phantom Knight player's board. And Phantom Knight player is going to trigger the Libic in his graveyard to special summon a Burning Abyss from his hand. And that's going to be the Seer. And this is the point where you need to play a Link Spider in your X-Far deck to be able to go into Dragoon to actually have some kind of interruption. Because otherwise you're just going to get stomped by Drytron's just huge power, the raw power they possess. But in this list he doesn't play, I don't play the Link Spider. So I'm just going to set a card and pass the turn to the Drytron player. The Drytron player drawing for turn, starting his turn like every other turn this match by using Preparation of Rites to search for a Cyber Angel Benten. And as I said before, it would get annoying and repetitive if the Cyber Angel Benten was not secret rare printing. Now he's using the Zeta effect, tributing the Benten to special summon itself from the hand and searching for a ritual spell, and then triggering the Benten in the graveyard to search for a light fairy monster. The Benten searched for a Diviner, which is probably going to get normal summoned, and depends on what the Phantom Knight player is more scared of. He is going to have to use his set card, which is most likely a Cold Bay or a Fogblade, Fogblade being more likely since he's playing multiples, to decide if he's going to use it on the Diviner or on the Mubeta or something else entirely. The Drytron player living comfortably by using the Drytron Nova. He's just flexing his huge muscles and bulging back to just summon the Drytron with Drytron Nova, overlaying into Mubeta, attempting to use the Mubeta effect, but gets stopped by a Fogblade from the Phantom Knight player. Now he's using the ritual spell. He was attempting to detach as material, but he's unable to do that since Fogblade is negating the Xyz monster. So he just tributes the entire Xyz monster to summon a Benten from the graveyard, which gets tributed right after by using the Gamma effect from the graveyard, tributing the Benten, summoning itself and a Zeta from graveyard, and also tributing Benten once again this turn to search for the Big Daddy Herald of Ultimateness. Now he's going to overlay both of them for another Mubeta, and he's just putting the proxy into graveyard so we can have a nicer viewing experience by looking at the pretty shiny cardboard. He uses the effect of Ritual Spell card in the graveyard, reducing the Mubeta by 1000 and adding itself back to the hand. And now he's activating the Ritual Spell, detaching from Mubeta to summon a Herald, and if there were any interruptions at this point, it would just be nullified by the Herald summon. This also means that Seer will probably not be able to resolve its effect to stall for a game, and this just spells the end of the game. At least it should spell the end of the game. They are confirming the attack points of the Nibiru token, which is currently on 2800. And now the Diviner of the Heralds gets normal summoned, uses its effect, sends to the graveyard a Herald of Arclight to boost itself by 4 levels, and then uses the Arclight effect to search for a Cyber Angel Ida 10. Will we actually see Adaten's second effect come into play and boosting the Herald by 1000? We will never know. Or actually, we might know in a second. No, we will not see the second effect being used, because the Drytron player is just going into battle phase, attacking over token for 200 points of damage, attacking directly with Herald of Ultimateness for... No, never mind, he attacked the Seer, my bad, I did not see the Seer on the field. And now the Phantom Knight player is attempting to use the Seer effect, targeting Cherubini, actually targeting the Graph in Graveyard, to special summon it from the grave. And this is most likely going to get negated. The Drytron player is really thinking hard about this one, and he actually elects to negate it in the end. And now he attacks directly for 1000 with Mubeta and 500 with Diviner. Link summoning for IP Masquerena in main phase 2, and just setting a card and passing the turn. The Phantom Knight player really needs a taupe deck that doesn't exist, because nothing really gets you out of this situation. He just sets a monster and extends a handshake, signaling the end of the match. And the winner is the Drytron player. I mean, you probably could have guessed this, since this is a Drytron deck profile. But yeah, this was actually a really good match, even though there were some bricky hands and some misplays. But the misplays actually teach us a lot about what to negate, how to play around certain things, and the bricky hands can teach us how to maximize your resource usage to get the best chance to break a board, while also maintaining some resources to build your own board later. So yeah, this was actually a really enjoyable duel to watch and also commentate. I hope I wasn't too boring for you and there were some useful insights that I gave. So yeah, without further ado, I would just like to ask you, if you enjoyed this video, to drop a like, press that big red subscribe button down, and also just leave a comment if you like the duel or if you want to see some other duels. We're probably going to put out one more deck profile after this one, and that would be the Phantom Knight profile. And after that we have some spicy content planned for you. But if you want to see the spicy content even sooner, be sure to subscribe, because on 100 followers we are launching a new series that is probably going to be very fun for all of you to watch, and also it's really fun for us to record. We already tried a beta version of the video, and it's really fun to record. The only downside is that it takes quite a while to film and to create all the things that are needed for the episode. So yeah, if you are hyped for the new series and want to get to it sooner, get us to 100 subscribers and we'll do a episode 1 special for you, explaining the series and doing a first episode. So yeah, I'm sorry for ranting so much at the end of the video. I love you all, and please come again. Thank you for watching the video, and peace out. See ya.